This is bananas. If you've been with us for the last few episodes, you might remember that we spent some time hanging out with some very rich cartoon characters. But today, we're shrinking things down, way down. Instead of millionaires and luxury, we're headed into the forest and the treetops, into a world inhabited by tiny, fuzzy creatures who live among leaves, branches, and hollow trees. That brings us to Monchhichis.
Way up in the trees live the Monchhichis. Monchhichis, Monchhichis. They love to laugh and play, have a happy, happy day. Monchhichis, Monchhichis. A Monchhichi means happiness. But the grumbling's very mean to the Monchhichis.
Every day they tease, try to catch and squeeze.
So back up in the trees go the Monchhichis. Monchhichi means happiness, man.
Monchhichis is an American animated series based on the popular stuffed toy line created by the Japanese company Sekiguchi Corporation. These adorable little monkey-like dolls became a worldwide craze. Think Labubus, but back in the day. And it was only a matter of time before they made the jump to television. The cartoon adaptation was produced by Hanna-Barbera, one of the biggest animation studios of the time, known for turning toy lines and oddball ideas into full-fledged Saturday morning adventures. The series premiered on ABC on September 10th of 1983 as part of the Monchhichis Little Rascals Richie Rich show. This lineup replaced Pac-Man, which had previously been upgraded to its own standalone half-hour slot during a shakeup of ABC's Saturday morning programming. The show follows the Monchhichis, adorable monkey-like creatures who lived in the forest land of Monchia. Their home sits at the very top of towering trees, high above the clouds. It's a whimsical setting filled with magic, adventure, and friendship. Leading the tribe is Wizar, a magical wizard who creates spells and potions to help defend the Monchhichis. Their main enemy is Horde, along with the evil Grumplins of Grumplore, who constantly try to cause trouble for the peaceful community. Each episode typically featured the Monchhichis working together to outsmart Horde's schemes, whether it's rescuing friends, protecting their home, or solving magical mishaps. Teamwork was always the key message. One of the most fascinating parts of revisiting Monchhichis today is taking a look at the voice cast. Because once again, Hanna-Barbera pulled from what basically amounts to the 1980s Animation Hall of Fame. If you start recognizing voices almost immediately, that's because the show featured a lot of the usual suspects you'd hear across Saturday morning cartoons at the time. Of particular note are two names that feel absolutely unavoidable: Peter Cullen and Frank Welker. Yep, those guys. Peter Cullen, who would soon go on to become the voice of Optimus Prime, and Frank Welker, whose vocal range somehow covered everything from heroic leads to alien creatures and half the animal kingdom. Both lent their talents here. At some point, you have to ask, was there an animated series in the 1980s that didn't have Peter Cullen or Frank Welker in it? Between Transformers, G.I. Joe, Scooby-Doo, Smurfs, and countless others, their voices were everywhere, and Monchhichis fits perfectly into that trend. Even in a cartoon about tiny forest-dwelling creatures, Hanna-Barbera made sure the performers were seasoned pros who could carry a lot of personality with just a voice. It's another reminder that no matter how small or cute the characters were, these shows were backed by some very big talent. Despite its charming concept, Monchhichis had a relatively short run. The show only lasted 13 episodes. Yeah, just 13. Still, those episodes captured the playful spirit of the toy line and the colorful storytelling style Hanna-Barbera was known for. Even with such a short lifespan, the series remains a nostalgic favorite among fans of 1980s animation. Why does Monchhichis still stick in people's minds? First, the character designs were adorable and unique. Second, the fantasy setting high above the clouds felt magical. And third, the show emphasized teamwork, creativity, and kindness. While Monchhichis only ran 13 episodes, it left behind a charming slice of cartoon history. From its toy origins to its magical forest setting, the show remains a fun reminder of how creative Saturday morning cartoons could be. If you grew up watching Monchhichis, let me know down in the comments. Did you have the toys? Do you remember the theme song? And if you're discovering it for the first time, welcome to a hidden gem of the 1980s. That's going to wrap things up for our look at Monchhichis, a show that proves you don't need mountains of money or massive mansions to make a memorable 80s cartoon. Sometimes all you need is a forest, a few trees, and a cast of tiny, fuzzy troublemakers brought to life by some legendary voices. If you enjoyed this dive into one of the smaller corners of Saturday morning history, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss out on what's coming next. Because in the next episode, we're trading tree-dwelling creatures for tiny dogs. And if you know the phrase. Shucker! Yeah, we're going there. Until next time, guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay minty, stay fresh, and we'll see you in the next one.